comic book fans, welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now we've got a pick of the week. Yay, for 7 weeks. So let's get right into it. First up, the pick of the week from DC. We have Batman and Robin number 22, written by Peter J. Tomasi and art by Patrick Gleason. Now this is the conclusion to the first arc by Gleason and Tomasi of the White Knight versus the Dark Knight. We have the White Knight once again trying to get a hold of the last of the Arkham Asylum inmates' family members and make them plunge to their deaths. Well, luckily, Batman and Robin are there to stop them from falling to their deaths. It takes a little bit more strategy than they were prepared for, but everyone is rescued nonetheless. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, Batman and Robin are trying to figure out the motives and why the White Knight is doing this. And it comes down to the question of nature versus nurture. Pretty much what the White Knight is doing is trying to have a preemptive strike on the inmates' families before they go down that wrong path. Because obviously, he thinks it's all about, it's just nature. Since these inmates came from these kind of families, the families they leave behind are once again going to just descend into their kind of personalities, where it's murderous, rapists, psychopaths. What make the inmates of Arkham the inmates of Arkham? So before they can try to plan up another strategy, Arkham Asylum is lit up like a Christmas tree, and the White Knight has made his presence known. He's going to now take care of everyone in the asylum themselves. And while any other city who had this kind of problem with the bad guys would go just sit back and go ahead and do your thing. We'll look the other way. Not Batman and Robin. They got to go make sure that the inmates, people too, are saved. We finally get the backstory of the White Knight, where he was a kid and his father was a guard at Arkham Asylum. Well, there was a riot one day, and Dr. Phosphorus killed his dad by putting his handprints on his back, and they kind of reminded him of angel wings, which is kind of his whole little motif with the whole angels and vengeance. And anyway, so he's gonna do to Dr. Phosphorus and the rest of them what they did to him in his childhood. But nay, Batman and Robin make it to the scene, and Robin's left with dealing with saving the criminals, while Batman has a rooftop battle with White Knight. Things go awry as he tries to lift off with a jetpack, and because of a batarang, a very nicely placed batarang, White Knight goes down and gets those metal wings attached to him. They're scarred. They're permanently attached now. Don't know how to get it off because it's technology they're not familiar with. But anyway, now he's a resident of Arkham Asylum, and on his Tree of Darkness, we have Batman and Robin. It was a spectacular issue. The first issue of the series, I wasn't so quite sure about the creative team because, I love them on Green Lantern Corps. What can they do with Batman and Robin? By the end of this arc, I'm really impressed, and I cannot wait to see what their next arc entails. Now on to the Fast Five.
So crazy right now.
First up from Marvel, we have Ultimate Avengers vs. New Ultimates number 3. Now we finally get both teams colliding for the first time in this issue. I mean, if that's on the marquee, you better see it sometime soon. Well, it happens this issue. It's all about the Avengers trying to go in and get Carol Danvers for questioning, but it's not going to end up that easily because the New Ultimates are all prepared for them, and when they finally do hit, well, they're still kind of in disarray, but they still give them a lot to deal with. Nick Fury, since he knows every place inside and out, makes his appearance, along with his friend War Machine. They take on Iron Man, Carol Danvers, and the rest of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then you see everyone from each team starting to get into the fray and go against each other. We got Blade versus the Black Widow. We've got Iron Man versus War Machine. And we have Hawkeye versus Giant Man. And then at the end you get Captain America, who was fresh back from Berlin, beating the crap out of Nick Fury, calling him a traitor. Nick trying to tell Cap, no, we're all being set up here, but it's too late. And then they don't want Fury to go into custody, so Frank Castle, the Avengers Punisher / Captain America, he sees Captain America in his sights. He's going to shoot him in the kneecaps just so Nick can get free. But Spider-Man comes out of nowhere and blocks the shot with his gut. So now we have a dead and dying Spider-Man on the scene. I haven't read Ultimate Spider-Man 157 this week, but apparently events happen in both books, and so this might be the end of Spider-Man. And I know Joe Janet Jameson might be happy about that. But it was a killer, fantastic issue nonetheless. It was this close to becoming Pick of the Week, and then you got Lanil Yu and Steven Segovia's art on this. Spectacular. And look at that Gil Kane tribute on the cover. What more can you want? Next up from Image, we have The Infinite Vacation number 2. When we last left Mark, someone was trying to kill him. It was Redneck Mark. Well, apparently he wasn't really trying to kill him, he just didn't hear the voicemail all the way through. He was supposed to capture him to keep him from the killers of Mark, because someone's been going around in all the alternate universes trying to find the real Mark and kill him for whatever reason. But thousands, trillions are dead in the path, and these three have come together after surviving their attempts, going, there's looking for one of us Marks. Let's find the real one who's a 100% match and, save this guy. So there's the thing about this, all the alternate universes, is you can take Marks and replace them with other Marks. And they hide the real Mark in the dead-end Mark universe, where he accomplished nothing in life and has to be driven around by a service because he can't drive. Anyway, he meets this one girl, Claire, who we saw in the last issue, who was very against all the alternate universe things. So then she has an alternate her. It's weird. We're not sure yet what the whole plan is, but he's falling for her. But he also thinks at the same time that she might be able to help him out. And then at the end, we finally see the man who's looking for the real Mark, and he's been sickened the detectives and now a zombified version of Mark on the Marks. It's on the mark. This whole series is on the mark. I like it that much. Yeah, Christian Ward's gorgeous art, and it really helps out in the sense it's different universes and all that. You get different kinds of styles here and there, but it was a very enjoyable series nonetheless. Next up from DC, we have Rebels number 27. So we got Lobo, Smite going head to head, beating the crap out of each other. Turns out it's not going in either's favor. They were expecting it to be, wham bam, one and done. But they're starting to like each other a little bit more because they present a challenge that neither of them have faced before. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Ron is under attack by Starro, his conquerors, Vril Dox, and this is the Queen versus Vril and Starro. She has to try to hold her own. When message finally gets to Captain Comet, or Commander Comet, Captain Commander, Adam Strange and Starfire, they have to go back now and help out, while the rest of the team of Rebels, they try to go and find Lobo and back him up. By the time they get to Lobo, he's kind of having a nice cold beer with Smite, so they're kind of taking a break from their brawling, and who knows, maybe we'll get Smite on their side now. But the main thing that happens this issue is Tribulus gets rebooted by Brainiac 4, and Tribulus is now 100% back to normal with upgrades. And with these upgrades, his little psionic blasts can remove the stars from people. So now they have a weapon once again that will bring Starro the Conqueror and his legions of armies of Starros to their knees. But with only a few issues left, they better wrap it up quick. I mean, DC has the Executioner coming for this series, so, say your last prayers now before that unfortunate blade comes down. Next up from Marvel, we have S.H.I.E.L.D. Infinity. No, that's the number, is Infinity, because Jonathan Hickman's so crazy like that. Well, this is kind of a preview of things to come in the second volume coming out in a couple months here. You get a bunch of little stories, all written by Hickman, but all with different artists. And all the stories are like, you have the Colossus of Rhodes versus, an alien space invader. You have Michelangelo getting a message from Nostradamus and all the challenges that it takes and all the lives that are sacrificed just to get the message back to him. You also have Michelangelo asking Nikola Tesla what he saw when he was off doing his exploration and becoming the machine again. And then we also finally have Isaac Newton and the many, many different kills on his resume. I mean, you might think he's the guy who found the apple. No. The apple and the whole gravity thing, the apple is his calling card. And it's a very vicious Isaac Newton. But then again, this whole history of, all these big names being in the same organization, written by Hickman, I'm just loving it. But the price tag's a little pricey. $5, you get a couple of stories, and you can enjoy these stories, but if you knocked $1 off the tag, I think you would enjoy it even more. But yes, good little stories. I'm loving there on this. You got Baldus, Pitara, Melon, and more. Do yourself a favor, pick it up, especially if you're a fan of the first series, and especially if you're looking forward to Volume 2. And finally this week, from the Max line at Marvel, we have PunisherMAX number 12. Now we have Frank in the hospital, and it's not any hospital, it's a prison hospital, yay! The cops caught him. Now everyone in the prison is talking because they know the Punisher, 90% of them in prison because of the Punisher, is in their grasps. He's down and out on a hospital bed, unable to move. He's even going through his own mind going, what do I do when they come attack me? It's not a question of if, it's when. And then he goes back to what Bullseye was saying, the word that he said, or the reasoning of why he became the Punisher. And that's what really shut him up in the first place. And now he's thinking back to Nam. I met that one crazy soldier who was mentally unstable telling him, he's just like me. some people have an on-off switch. They go to Nam, come back, they're able to enjoy their lives with families once more. Or they're unstoppable killing machines, and the scariest thing to them is going back home to that wife and kids, not knowing how to please his wife anymore, not knowing how to play with the kids. And, we're slowly piecing together that's why Frank made sure that they died in that park, is so he could get free of them and do what he loves best, and killing and delivering justice. Basically, while all these thoughts are going on back in Nam, we have a white gang, a black gang, both arriving at the same point, saying, no, we were going to kill him. And then either gang going, okay, no, you go kill him first, you go kill him, because everyone's expecting a trap. He has enough of a reputation that you do not fuck with him. And so, instead of, they pussy out, but instead of, saying, oh no, you guys are pussy too, they're saying, okay, well, we'll just get him at a more later time. So now, in this upcoming arc, we're going to see Frank in jail, not only defending himself, but I'm sure killing a couple of people in the process. But it was a good issue nonetheless. I'm loving Aaron and Dylan on this series. It's like a match made in heaven. Or hell, depending on how you look at it. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Camy's Comic Corner. If you want more Camy's Comic Corner goodness, you can head on over to www.camyscomiccorner.com. From there, I got stuff updating all week. You got the Geeky Talkies on Wednesday. You got Camy's favorite covers on Fridays. At the beginning of the month, you have a book of the month. At the end of the month, you have a top shelf selection. Need I say more? And oh yes, and there's also the forums and the pull lists and the reviews of all these other things that you can check out as well. So if you want to help out the site, you can leave a review on iTunes. You can make a donation at the site itself. Or there's an Amazon banner. You can click through that if you're ever planning on making any purchases through Amazon. Just bookmark it as soon as you click through it. And any money that you spend on Amazon, I'll make a little bit of it back. Just a small percentage, but hey, pennies, dollars, every little ounce helps, right? Am I right? So anyway, that's how you can help out the show if you want. But until next week, this has been Camy's Comic Corner. I have been your host, Cammy. Now, I have to go visit the Punisher in jail. I brought him a cake with a little vial in it, but something tells me he can actually kill the prisoners with the cake and not the vial instead. So it'll be interesting.